So I made this box. It's 34 by 16 by 24 deep. Let's see if it'll fit. Yeah, it's gonna stop you right there. I ain't going in. Okay, pull it out. Just set it up here. I'm just going to pop this bottom panel off here and see if I can get a little more clearance. Damn, this ain't quite long enough for them big boogers. Oh, yeah. I'm hitting. There's that ½ inch of plywood underneath there. Nah, that's going in. That's gonna fit. Alright guys, I got my sheet of plywood home. I got the basics here. 4-foot straight edge pencil, tape measure, and a square so I can make sure my lines are nice and straight. I'm just gonna puzzle in my cut sheet here to make sure it all fits onto one sheet of plywood. Also, I know people like to use MDF or birch for their sub enclosures. I decided to use what's called ACX. The A stands for an A grade finish on one side, a C grade finish on the other, and the X is for they use exterior grade glue. And honestly, this stuff looks good. It's got like no voids in it. You know, there's like one little spot right there. But for the most part, this board is void free all the way around. So I decided to go with it. You know, I figured it would be better than MDF. It's lighter than MDF. It's going to be stronger in my opinion. And also it'll take moisture. If any kind of moisture gets in my trunk or anything, this plywood will take it better than MDF. Even though I'm going to finish it. But in my opinion, I think this is probably a happy medium. You know, I scored this 3/4 sheet for $40. You know, MDF is like $30. This was $40. Birch is like $70. So, I mean, this is like half the price and almost as good in my opinion. So, we'll give it a shot here, and I'm going to build my enclosure out of it. And if I don't like it, then I'll just build another one. So let's get to drawing shapes here so I can start cutting. So to make sure my cuts are 100% straight, I just clamped a straight edge down here on the board. And I'll follow it with the skill saw so I know I'm 100% straight. Alright guys, so here it is. I got it screwed together. I haven't glued it yet. I just wanted to make sure everything was fitting nice and the way I wanted it. Talking with some fellow base heads and DB boxes, we made some changes here to the box. Really more, we added some features more than changed the box. The design is still the same. But we added a support across the middle here. A support for the port. Another support across the middle of this chamber. We put a wedge for the port to help with efficiency of airflow moving in and out. And put some 45s here in the corners. I also rounded this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner. It's kind of hard to see, but I did. I still have to sand everything. That's why I just wanted to screw it together for now. Like all my wedges are just sitting there. They're not even screwed or glued. So I'm going to pull everything apart and stain it, and then when I put it back together, I'll glue it. So here it is, just in the unfinished stage, but this is pretty much it. So let's finish putting it together here, and then I'll take it apart and we'll start staining it. Well, I have to sand it first. Take it apart, sand it, and then stain it and reassemble. Alright, so I got it screwed together here. It fit together pretty good. There's not a whole lot of unevenness. I got one little spot right here that I got to sand a little bit off of this. But other than that, it went together really, really good. The longest part was marking all my screw holes. I still got a couple more for the wedges, but it's all in all, it's all screwed together. I used about 120 screws, in case you were wondering. So it took a while. And the bottom sheet looks just like this top one, all marked out for the port and screwed together too. So, and here's the front. I still got to cut the port and cut the sub holes. I'm just going to do that with the router so it's nice and smooth. So let's just continue on here. So here it is. I got my port cut and my sub holes cut. I got one sub sitting in there for now just to make sure it fit. I rounded over my port. It's kind of hard to see, but it's been rounded over. It's pretty much ready to go. Also, I added a second front baffle. As you can see, it's 2 3/4 pieces thick. So, I mean, I spent all this work and extra time adding all these features. I figured, what the hell, I might as well add a second front baffle while I'm at it. So, it looks pretty good. So it's just about time to take her apart here and start staining. Alright guys, as you can see, I already stained the box, all the pieces individually. It's chilly outside, so I'm just inside here in my kitchen assembling the box. Some of the pieces didn't stain as even as I would have liked, but you know, there's no turning back now, so it's just press forward, and now I'm gluing and screwing. Alright, so here it is, about 75% put together. I just got to put the front and back on now. I'm going to caulk it while it's like this. I got some nice black silicone, so it'll blend in and look real good. And then when it's all put together, I'll polyurethane the whole outside to put some nice high gloss on it. So I got my first coat of polyurethane on. It looks good. Gave it that nice wet look that I was looking for. It's soaking it up in a bunch of spots, so it's definitely going to need a second coat. I got it here next to the fire, so I might have to wait till morning to hit it with the second coat, but we'll see. Alright, so I got it finished. Well, 95% finished. I polyurethane the outside. I still want to polyurethane the port. So, it's almost done. So, I'm just going to screw my subs in and get it playing, and then I can polyurethane my port in a couple days. So, I think it looks really good. And we're going to start wiring here and trying to get this thing playing, man. I am excited to hear it. So let's get going here. So I'm going to use this NVX silver tinned 8 gauge to wire inside my box. I've already started making my connections. They look really good. So we're just going to continue on here. So if you were wondering how I was going to hook my 8 gauge to the speaker terminal, seems how they're not 4 gauge, I just made this I had some 8 gauge with a 1/4 inch hole and got a 1/4 inch bolt, and then put it on the grinder and got it to where it'll fit in the terminal. So here it is wired up. Just like this is what I was talking about. I have a wire ferrule on the end of this, so it slid in real nicely. So everything's got heat shrink on it, so I don't worry about arcing out or anything like that. So we should be good to go. Looks pretty clean. I'm not sure how other people are doing it, but this is how I did it. Alright, so we're about to put the box in. This thing's pretty big once you get it up here. So we're just about ready to put it in here and we'll get it going. So I got it in. It's a lot bigger in the trunk than what I was thinking. I mean, it took up all of it. So it looks great though. I love the massive port. So everything turned out good. It slid in with ease, and I'm about to go listen to it for the first time. So let's get that going. Alright, so we made it down here to the bumping spot. We're gonna kick it up here. We haven't even heard it yet. I got my wife here with me. So we're gonna see what it sounds like and try to catch our first reactions as it happens. I don't know if it's going to sound better or worse, but we're about to find out.
Thank you for calling 1-800-RUST-A-NUT.
We'll start out a little low and crank up the volume.
For wetter seas.
What happens combine the darkness and the light?
I can definitely feel that my lower hertz, like in the 30s and stuff, is hitting way harder than that prefab. So let's try to get some, try to make this rag float a little bit to show you how much more air movement this thing has.
When you're
Man, it actually sucked the rag back in there. All right.